Hello, everyone. I am here to talk about the AgilLink adoption top practices. And the most important thing that I want to bring to everybody's attention is the first item that the sentence ends with: everyone will experience a significant change. Even good change is still change. And that's the thing that I keep in sights working with every firm who is going to be adopting AgilLink. Actually, we now have over 180 active clients using AgilLink on a day-to-day basis. And that ranges from firms that have 2 users to firms that have 500 users. From looking at that whole universe of data, we've really come up with top practices, and there are 3 essential keys to success. The implementation approach is the first one. Identifying critical roles to lead your change. And then finally, the third step is figuring out what your ongoing operating model is. So with those 3 things in our sights, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of how to put it together. We're involved and what their roles are is the very first step to a successful journey. And we've listed out sponsors, champions, administrators, knowledge teams, and I'm going to go into a deeper dive of what the actual day-to-day roles of those users are. Once you have your team in place, figuring out what your governance is, the responsibilities, and how you're going to have your own internal ongoing support, and then delivering that communication to internal users. Who is going to be doing that? Identify those people. Once that's in place, you're down to planning. You plan the chart of accounts. You plan time for training, both the admins and the users. And you plan your approach on how you're going to set up the system, the users, the client data, and all of the different setups that are going to make it a live system. Most people have been using legacy 10, 15, 20 years. All the setups in place, those same setups have to be planned and deployed in AgilLink for people to do their same jobs. When you're ready to pull the trigger, you begin executing your plan. Most people do it in cycles, in waves. So if you're a small firm, 1 or 2 users with 25 or 30 client codes, you might say doing it all at once, what we call the big bang, makes sense. If you're a firm with 50, 100, 200 users, because of timing and training, you're going to have to plan and then repeat it in waves. Plan, repeat it in waves. When everything is in place, all users trained, all clients are onboarded, you then are in a maintenance mode of ongoing support. And you also need to have plans and procedures in place for how you're going to do your business day to day in the ongoing support. In the next slide, let's take a deeper dive into the 5 roles that we really recommend that people make sure are in place. Sponsor, champions, your admins, your internal IT support, and then you might even want to have pilot participants, a small subset that do a proof of concept for everything that you are planning in when you're doing the identification. We have found in our successful adoptions that a sponsor is crucial. They need to be a high-level owner, partner, manager who defines the visions of why they're doing that. Everybody is busy in their day-to-day jobs. Everybody's been using legacy and it works just fine. Why are we changing? Well, the sponsors and the champions know that. They're talking to Dawn or other sales members along the way, and they know why they're making the change. Once the sponsor and the champion are involved in the sales cycle, they need to deliver that message and that vision to all of the users in their firm. They need to reinforce the positive message. Yes, this has changed, but it's changed for good. And then if there are unknown situations, it's important they act as a decision maker and say, this was our vision, this is why we're doing it. I'm empowered to make the decision. The sponsor is the leader and it will have the North Star for the success in the organization. the champion. This is really where a lot of the nuts and bolts comes in. The champion is the person who works with the client success manager at AgilLink. When you adopt AgilLink, you're assigned a personal client success manager, and they lead you through this journey and help you plan, help you find your training resources. The champion works with the client success manager closely. They assign the setup tasks and the required training. The champion monitors timelines and ensures delivery. Depending on the size of your firm, you might need 2 or 3 different people doing this. That totals about 25% of their time. The sponsor and the champion are crucial. You need a leader, you need a doer. And with those two working in harmony, the adoption will progress as you plan in the planning phase. The system administrators of the firm are not to be underestimated. You will need somebody, we call them administrators, but it could be a very senior account manager who also has the skills and the technical ability to be creating users, creating their permission roles, and putting workflow in place. Sometimes that's a completely separate team of administrators. Sometimes that's baked into senior account managers. There's no one size fits all on who should be doing this. And the client success manager tells you the important aspects of what these trusted users are doing so you can decide where that best fits in your organization. Different firms have the administrators assuming additional responsibilities over just user and role creation. Many of them have them set up clients. Some have them set up bank accounts. Again, all of the activities that are necessary, the client success manager lays out, you decide where they best fit in your organization. Password resets, lockouts, various activities of the administrators. And the system administrator team is very important that they're your first line of questions before you reach out to the AgilLink Client Contact Center. You're the internal experts. You know how you've decided to roll out AgilLink and who can do what. That team is the best first contact for your users. And then if they need assistance, reach out to our contact center or your CSM as appropriate. Lastly, your internal knowledge manager or trainer. As people come on board, they will need to leverage AgilLink training. But when the AgilLink training needs to become more specific to your business model, you'll need some sort of knowledge manager who can add context to that and then say what your firm's best practices are. All of the recommended roles are on this page. Whether it's one person or more will fully depend on the size of your organization and how you want to distribute the work. Platform has so much more than legacy to make your users be successful and find the information they need at their fingertips. We have an online user forum. We have a knowledge center that's baked into the system. We call it the AgilLink community. You can go in there, articles, videos, learning plans. We have a WalkMe in-app resource. So if you need a tutorial on entering a vendor, WalkMe will walk you through the steps on screen. The self-paced training videos and learning plans, we're updating continually and adding more to that library. We've had many people adopt AgilLink who've never gone to a webinar. They've just used the videos and learning plans and then set up a couple Q&As. Documentation, as Ashra mentioned earlier, each release that comes out, we have documentation available with informative articles, learning plans, tutorials, the forms you need for client transfers or changing your administrators at your fingertips, release notes, and then if you'd like, you can open a case with our contact center through the AgilLink community. It's an amazing place that's at anybody's fingertips whenever they need it, and we're updating it all the time.